treatment provided very early to minimize the cost and the burden on families. For example, the entire northern sector, the 5 regions, have evidence that we only have 1 mammography for breast cancer. Very bad. It means that if you don't go to Tamale Teaching Hospital from the 5 northern regions, you can be diagnosed of a breast cancer through a mammography. Very poor. This means that a lot of women who have developed breast cancers may even end up at an advanced stage before they are sent to Kumasi or sent to Accra here for treatment. So my call is that we invest very well in primary health care and also in making early diagnosis, and where possible, give vaccinations for prevention. For example, PSA. How much is PSA to diagnose a prostate cancer, a possibility of somebody to develop prostate cancer? It's a peanut. It's not up to 200 Ghana cedis. But we still see men developing what we call prostate cancer. When it can be diagnosed very early and treatment given to them so early that with some tablets or even just a removal of the testes, and no prostate cancer will take place and the person would not have any problem. Pap smear. How much is a pap smear that we cannot provide in all our village hospitals, every district hospital, to diagnose cancers, cervical cancers in women? So primary health care is something we have to look into it very seriously. Hepatitis B and C. How much is it to test for somebody for hepatitis B and C? Can't it be part of the national program that every year, every single person in Ghana should test for hepatitis B and C and vaccinated? So those who are vaccinated, the next year, they don't have to do the test again. This would also reduce the prevalence of cancer or liver cancers in people. But as the saying goes, every journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. At least the Mahama Care has come in to start doing something. And I would like to appreciate His Excellency, the President, for this bold initiative to start something to treat people with chronic non-transmissible diseases and people with high burden diseases that require a lot of financial resources. But I'll call on government to invest more in primary health care. The chip compounds we are developing now, 2 chip compounds for every district every year. For the next 3 years, will give us thousands of chip compounds where pap smear can easily be done, where PSA can easily be tested on a rapid diagnostic kit to know whether somebody will be developing prostate cancer or developing a cervical cancer. And also every district hospital can be given a mammography to make sure we scan all our women every 3 years to see whether they are developing something in the breast. So to me, I think we should hail the Mahama Care. We shouldn't condemn it, but we should rather ask them to innovate it, to buy more resources to the lower hospitals, to do early diagnosis, to minimize the cost of treatment, and to minimize the economic burden on families that need to treat their patients with advanced stages of cancer. To this end, I will say, Mr. Speaker, thank you for permitting me to contribute a little to this statement.
Yes, now leaders. Honorable Jerry.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity, and I stand to contribute to the statement made by the MP for Ablikuma North. Right Honorable Speaker, I have averted my mind to a few issues, one of which is that even with this statement, we have had some few political twists to it. Instead of people concentrating on the gravamen of the issues, you would realize that respectfully, almost every speaker on this side found reason to link it to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, and we go on to talk about propagating the Mahama Care. But Right Honorable Speaker, what we have also fallen short of is to remind ourselves that the Ghana Medical Trust Fund is taking its source of funding from the National Health Insurance Fund, which was initiated by the President John Ajekun Kufuor. Right, Honorable Speaker, to start with this and to continue, you would also understand that when you go to Kolebu, one of the biggest health facilities that is used in treating cancer is the Urology and Nephrology Center, which was constructed and commissioned by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you come to Ghana, there are major issues we have to deal with when it has to do with cancer. The statistics are startling. First of all, when you look at the Global Con report of 2022, right, Honorable Speaker, it tells you that new cancer cases in Ghana annually is 28,000. That is something to worry about instead of doing the usual politics. It also tells you that annually, almost 18,000 people die of cancer in the Republic of Ghana. And therefore, we need to be concentrating our efforts on prevention and awareness and education. This is why, as a member of parliament, you should also not take this for granted. If you're a man, you should ask yourself, when was the last time you tested on the PSA? Have you ever had the opportunity of testing the PSA? You're a woman, have you had any breast screening? If you have not done that, do you also take your very diet seriously? How are you eating? And how are you exercising? Not just rushing to come and sit in the chamber. These are all very critical issues. But Right Honorable Speaker, for me, this is another important issue we have not looked at. That with the surge in galamsey, there is a lot of heavy metals in food. That is why I would corroborate Honorable Zuere's submission on the kind of food and fruits we are having. When you take mangoes, when you take pineapples, when you take tomatoes, which can even help, that's we've been told, can even help in curing cancer. What is happening to them? Just because of the surge in galamsey, all manner of people are having all manner of issues. And these are some of the things we have to avert our minds to, or bring our minds to see how best we can, if not eliminate galamsey, curb galamsey. Right, Honorable Speaker, once I go on, this World Cancer Day is supposed to pay attention to three major groups of people. Right, Honorable Speaker, one of them is the fighters of cancer, those who have survived. How have they gone by that? How have they survived? What did they do? The caregivers, when you go to Kolebu, they don't have a lot of the resources or the facilities. But when you go and see Professor Mensah, he and his team, they are doing extremely well in providing service and to ensure that people's lives are saved. We need to commend these people. And finally, we need to also pay homage to the people who have lost their lives. Express our sympathies and condolences to their... I heard Professor Kingsley talk about losing his daughter through leukemia. And that is a very sad story. Our prayer is that we all should depart from the usual politics and come together to ensure that we can put a forceful mind to solving this problem, this canker called cancer, so that we can have a better life. World Cancer Day reminds us that cancer is not just a medical battle, but a human one. Together, we can create awareness. Together, we can prevent cancer. And together, we can save Mother Ghana. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this platform.
Yes, thank you. The last person, I'm told by the... Oh, you do it on his behalf?
No, Mr. Speaker, I was going to ask for your permission to let the honourable member for Nanton to take the slot of leadership.
That's okay. Yes, please, Honourable.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this statement made by the Honourable Member for Ablekuma North. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, I would want to say a very big thank you to all healthcare workers in this country, the doctors, the nurses, the midwives, for the great work they are doing for Mother Ghana. Cancer, as we all know, is one debilitating disease that one would never want to encounter. I recall my few days as a medical officer in Salaga, where I came across a 35-year-old who inadvertently had a mass removed from her breast. And the one that removed this mass did not know that they didn't have to throw it away. The mass was thrown away. She came to me after 5 years with full-blown breast cancer. But thankfully, Mr. Speaker, we now have a government in place. In this chamber, we've heard a lot of things being said about screening, and that screening is the way to go. Screening is what we have to do to catch the disease early so that we can treat it well. Thankfully, the Ministry of Health, together with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, they are coming up with this policy of free primary health care. The essence of free primary health care is to bring screening and early detection to the doorstep of the ordinary Ghanaian. What it means is that with this policy, any woman, any child, anyone can walk to the nearest CHIPS compound and have her breast examined. Any woman can walk to the nearest health center and have her cervix examined. Anybody can walk to the nearest CHIPS compound and have their glucose checked. Anybody can walk to the nearest health center and have their BPs checked. That is what we mean by screening. The government is not only stopping at that, Mr. Speaker. The government also says that once you screen and you find an at-risk population, what do? Refer to the next available facility. Then the National Health Insurance is going to take its way. Issues that cannot be solved by the National Health Insurance, like the childhood cancers that we are talking about, the breast cancers, etc. Then we have the Ghana Medical Trust Fund come in. And Mr. Speaker, I would want to put it on record that it is not only the provision of payment of medical bills that the Ghana Medical Trust Fund is looking at. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund is looking into the training of doctors. And I can tell you for a fact that this year, the Ghana Medical Trust, in partnership with the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, is looking forward to training doctors, Mr. Speaker, for your region, Upper West. Is looking forward to training specialists for the Northern region. Is looking forward to training specialists for the Bono region. There is no way you can fight cancer if you do not have an oncologist. There is no way you can fight cancer if you don't have an oncology nurse. The same Ghana Medical Trust Fund is looking forward into research and innovation. We are setting up what they call the cancer registry. Mr. Speaker, sometimes cancers come from certain locations. Sometimes cancers come from certain towns. If you have a cancer registry, then you can tell that cancer A most likely is coming from Nanton. Cancer B most likely is coming from Tano. If that is the case, can we go back and see what are the risk factors in these areas, Mr. Speaker? This is the holistic approach that this government is taking. And what is the whole reason? It is for us to achieve what we call universal health coverage, which says that nobody, no Ghanaian, no individual should be denied of health care, irrespective of what? Your distance, religious or tribal affiliation. Mr. Speaker, before I take my seat, there's this impression that has been created that Kolebu just got a mere 1 million and then just 248,000 was paid. We are saying that today, four patients who otherwise had no hope, who otherwise would have been on TV and the whole world telling them, there's a Momo number, pay this to me. 4 of them have benefited. Those 4 families are thankful that their worries, their woes have been taken over by the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Again, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, Mr. Speaker, is retooling our health facilities. In the fight of cancer, diagnostics is very essential. If you don't have a mammography machine, how are you going to be screening for your breast cancer? If you don't have an MRI, if you don't have a PET scan, how are you going to manage your cancer patient? That is what Ghana Medical Trust Fund is doing. That is why we say that in Ghana Medical Trust Fund, truly Mahama cares. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable members, I think it's time for us to take the second statement. And the second statement stands in the name of Honorable Dr. Kingsley Ajiman, the Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South, and is on the 61st anniversary of the passing of Dr. Joseph Kwame Chichi Boache Dankwa. Please, Honorable Member, you may do so now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Order 92 of the Standing Orders of the Parliament of Ghana, which permits a ceremonial speech confined to the commemoration of a special event and the eulogizing of a renowned and distinguished deceased person to mark the 61st anniversary of the passing of Dr. Joseph Kwame Chichi Boache Dankwa, one of the foremost intellectual architects of our nation. On the 4th day of February 1965, Ghana lost a philosopher, a jurist, a nationalist, and a moral voice whose ideas continue to inform our constitutional and democratic life. In recalling his life, one is reminded of the words of Scripture in Proverbs chapter 4, verses 7, and I quote, "Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding," unquote. Dr. Dankwa's life was a living embodiment of this injunction. He sought wisdom not for personal elevation, but for national awakening. Mr. Speaker, over the years, many worthy and illuminating tributes have been laid in honor of Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Scholars have examined the richness of his intellectual life. Jurists have reflected on his contribution to constitutional thought. Historians have chronicled his role in the nationalist movement. Political leaders within his own tradition have rightly celebrated his courage, sacrifice, and vision. Taken together, these attributes have presented Dr. Dankwa as a many-sided figure whose life defies narrow classification. The purpose of this statement is therefore not to repeat what has already been eloquently said, nor merely to rehash the familiar catalogue of his achievements. Rather, the distinct thrust of my intervention this afternoon is to focus attention on a more exacting and I submit more compelling measure of Dr. Dankwa's national stature. The manner in which he has been eulogized, acknowledged, and intellectually engaged by those who did not share his political ideology, and in some instances stood in firm opposition to it. It is on this basis, Mr. Speaker, which this statement proceeds to examine selected reflections and assessment of Dr. Dankwa by persons and traditions that did not align with his political worldview. In doing so, I seek to establish beyond sentiment and beyond party that Dr. Dankwa stands as an undisputed national figure whose legacy belongs to the entire republic and not to any single political inheritance. It is in this spirit that this House is invited to reflect. Mr. Speaker, few testimonies concerning parliamentary excellence carry greater institutional authority than those of a clerk of parliament. In this regard, the reflections of Mr. K.B. Ayensu, clerk of the National Assembly from 1955 to 1966, remain compelling. Writing in echoes from the past, timeless tributes to J.B. Dankwa in 1967, Mr. Yesu observed, and I quote, "After Dankwa had left the parliamentary scene, slowly but inevitably, the rot set in. The proceedings began to acquire a certain element of insipid farce. Many in the House privately wished for a return to the Dankwa days," unquote. Mr. Speaker, professional institutions whose legacy, whose legitimacy rests on neutrality have equally affirmed his legacy. In 2025, the Ghana Bar Association publicly reiterated that, and I quote, "Dr. J.B. Dankwa's role in Ghana's struggle for independence remains unparalleled," unquote. The association recalled his leadership in the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, which successfully resisted colonial attempts to expropriate Ghanaian land, and noted that this early activism marked the beginning of a sustained legal struggle against colonial injustice. Similarly, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, an institution entirely removed from partisan contestation, had documented Dr. Dankwa's decisive role in national formation. The Academy recalls his instrumental contribution to the Barnes Constitution of 1946, his foundation membership of the United Gold Coast Convention in 1947, and his description by the Wharton Commission as the doyen of Gold Coast politics. Mr. Speaker, contemporary policy analysis has reinforced this historical assessment. In 2025, African Leadership and Policy for Humanitarian Action, AFA, a Pan-African think tank, stated that the history of Ghana and Africa will be incomplete without recognizing Dr. Dankwa's contribution to the constitutional development and democratic consolidation. Mr. Speaker, perhaps most persuasive for this House are the voices captured in our own parliamentary Hansard, spoken by honorable members from across the political divide. On 5th February 2022, Honorable Roxanne Nelson Echedefiamakpo, now Majority Chief Whip, stated on the floor of this House that although Dr. Dankwa lost elections and came into conflict with the security apparatus of the state, and I quote, his contributions and criticism of the government, unquote, were significant, and that he was a towering figure of legal mind. On that basis, Mr. Speaker, at his instance, this House observed a minute's silence in honor of Dr. J.B. Dankwa, a solemn act that speaks profoundly to bipartisan respect. On Tuesday, 4th February 2025, Honorable Mahama Ayariga, Majority Leader, in contributing to a statement moved by my good self, reminded the House, and I quote directly from Hansa, "You cannot write the history of this country without recognizing the contributions of J.B. Dankwa," unquote. He further drew attention to Dr. Dankwa's enduring scholarly legacy in Akan customary law, noting the continued relevance in legal education. Earlier on Wednesday, 5th February 2020, Honorable Kwame Gavins Agoja, the Minority Chief Whip, cautioned this House that the experience of Dr. Dankwa under the Preventive Detention Act should permanently remind legislators to consider the long-term consequences of laws past the moments of political agency. On February 5th, on Friday, 5th February 2016, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, member for Banda, highlighted Dr. Dankwa's central role in the Africanization of the legislative and executive councils and in securing the establishment of the University of Ghana, observing that this single contribution had produced generations of intellectuals who now serve the Republic. On Tuesday, 5th February 2015, Honorable Haruna Idrusu, member for Tamale South, acknowledged Dr. Dankwa's advocacy for farmers, his role in the establishment of the Cocoa Marketing Board, and his brilliance in legislative debate, concluding that his contribution to Ghana's independence was enormous and undeniable. On that same day, Honorable Faith Bafo, former Minister of State, delivered what may be one of the most profound parliamentary affirmations of Dr. Dankwa's national stature when he stated, and I quote, it was people and men like Dr. J.B. Dankwa who gave us the ethos of nationhood. He gave us the name of the nation. He gave us the name of the nation. He gave us the purpose of the nation, unquote. Mr. Speaker, on Wednesday, 5th February 2014, both Honorable Benjamin Kumbuo, former Attorney General, and the then Honorable Alban Suman Kingsford Babin, now Speaker of this Honorable House, reflected on the devastating impact of the Preventive Detention Act, using the Dankwa's experience to caution against what was described as constitutional dictatorship, and to emphasize that such an ordeal should never be visited upon any citizen, regardless of stature. Mr. Speaker, when clerks of parliament, professional bodies, academic institutions, policy think tanks, majority and minority leaders of the National Democratic Congress, ministers of state of the NDC, and speakers of parliament, speaking across decades and ideological divides, converge in the assessment of one man, then history itself has rendered its verdict. Mr. Speaker, history is often most honest when it speaks across divisions. A man whose life and work are acknowledged with respect by those who oppose him politically, whose ideas continue to frame constitutional governance and democratic restraint, and whose personal sacrifice remains a warning and a lesson to successive generations, meets every test of national heroism. The experience of Dr. J.B. Dankwa under the Preventive Detention Act reminds this House that the erosion of liberty rarely announces itself loudly, but often returns quietly through practices that normalize excessive restraint, prolonged detention, or punitive bail conditions that test the boundaries of constitutional reasonableness. It is therefore not as a political claim, but as a historical conclusion that this statement submits that Dr. Dankwa's life, ideas, and sufferings compel us to eternal vigilance. To honor him is not merely to remember his past, but to ensure that the dark chapters he endured are never reopened in our present. I'm most grateful to you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity and the space afforded me to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. It's now for the House to comment on. Yes, the lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the contribution by the Honourable Member for Ebuakwa South. Right Honourable Speaker, we remember J.B. Dankwa, the scholar, the freedom fighter, the jurist, the author, the statesman, and the historian. Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, we remember J.B. Dankwa as the leader who defended the freedom of Ghanaians and worked for a liberal democratic form of government, underpinned by the rule of law. We recall the case of Ri Akoto in 1961, where Dankwa brought an application for an order for a habeas corpus for the release of Bafo Osei Akoto, who was then the senior linguist and for the Asante-Hene, and was also a founder of a political movement. Although the legal challenge brought by Dankwa failed in terms of the arbitrary detention of a citizen, we in Ghana today enjoy the benefits of the Supreme Court, the powers of the Supreme Court to determine the constitutionality of legislation and to strike down unconstitutional legislation. Today, we are the beneficiaries of the principles and freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I believe that Dankwa's fight as a jurist for the rule of law in a liberal democratic form of governance has borne fruit in the present-day Ghana that we all enjoy. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to contribute to the honourable member's statement. Thank you.
Well, yes. Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, being the MP for Menchia South, where Nana Bafo Akoto was a constituent and one of the founding fathers of our political tradition, it would be unfair to the memory of J.B. Dankwa if I don't contribute to the statement. In fact, Mr. Speaker, it is also on record that the foremost constituent of Menchia South, Utumfo Osei Tutu II, has also acknowledged that J.B. Dankwa was also the lawyer for Nana Se Osei Agyeman Prempeh II. And so, Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, being their MP, it is only fair that on this day I add my voice to the comments so far made. Mr. Speaker, history should unite us as a country rather than divide us. It is important that as a nation, we acknowledge each other's contribution to the development of this country rather than berate it. It thus appears that oftentimes in our debates as to who contributed to the independence of this country, we want to berate others and then emphasize the importance of the roles of others. Mr. Speaker, if for nothing, today, Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution, Chapter 5 of the 1992 Constitution, Mr. Speaker, on the fundamental human rights of the people of this country, traces its source to the argument J.B. Dankwa made in his habeas corpus application for Bafo Akoto, an important member of a deceased important member of my constituency. Mr. Speaker, on that score alone, Mr. Speaker, if for nothing, we cannot overlook J.B. Dankwa's contribution. And on this occasion, on behalf of the people of Menchia South, Mr. Speaker, we do acknowledge the importance of the role of J.B. Dankwa. And I do commend my brother from Chebi, also a very important traditional political seat, Mr. Speaker, for the statement so far made. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement commemorating the passing of Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Mr. Speaker, ably made by my good honourable brother, the Member of Parliament for Abuakwa South. Mr. Speaker, celebrating one of our historic forebears and one of the historic figures of our country, Mr. Speaker, does not in itself amount to diminishing or belittling the contribution of other great leaders. Mr. Speaker, it is in this spirit that I believe that it's fitting that this House is paying such tribute to the memory and work of Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Mr. Speaker, Dr. J.B. Dankwa's legacy cuts across various spheres of our national life. It cuts across politics, it cuts across the development of our national economy, the arts center, history, academia, intellectualism, and many more. Mr. Speaker, indeed, J.B. Dankwa, Mr. Speaker, as far back as 1946, was one of the key driving figures for the Benz Constitution of our country, Mr. Speaker, which some pundits have argued as the fulcrum or the pillar on which our independence struggle was fought. Mr. Speaker, in the formation of the United Gold Coast Convention on 4th August 1947, J.B. Dankwa, Mr. Speaker, and his colleagues advocated for political pluralism, they advocated for the respect for human rights, they advocated for democratic accountability. Mr. Speaker, they stood against the one-party state. Mr. Speaker, today, if you want to appreciate the legacy and memory of Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Mr. Speaker, look no further. Just take a look at our national constitution, specifically Article 3(1) of our national constitution, where the framers of our national constitution, in responding to the efforts made by the likes of J.B. Dankwa against one-party state, have expressly prohibited the establishment of a one-party state. That is very much part of the legacy of J.B. Dankwa. Mr. Speaker, in the case of Riakoto and 7 others, which continues to be a locus classicus, when it comes to the right to fair trial, Mr. Speaker, and when it comes to the right of all citizens not to be condemned and not to be sentenced and not to be detained without a fair trial. This Riakoto and 7 others, Mr. Speaker, anybody who's had the privilege of passing through the law school would have come across it, and it continues to be a locus classicus. Mr. Speaker, J.B. Dankwa's work, indeed, when he
got into the Legislative Council of our country was described, Mr. Speaker, by the Watson Commission as, and I quote, the doyen of Gold Coast politics, end quote, where he spoke extensively and advocated extensively for the Ghana which is being modeled today. The Ghana which is being modeled today. Mr. Speaker, at the time, it was not fashionable. The Ghana of rule of law, the Ghana of respect for human rights, the Ghana of democratic accountability, the Ghana of individual rights and individual liberties, as well as individual enterprise, Mr. Speaker. At the time when J.B. Dankwa made this case before the Watson Commission, that was not fashionable. But today, that is the Ghana that has been constructed. All he stood for, Mr. Speaker, at the time, have become the pillars, foundations, and the bedrock of modern-day Ghanaian democratic experiment. Mr. Speaker, J.B. Dankwa did not only contribute to the politics of our country, he was also very, very instrumental when it comes to intellectual contribution. And J.B. Dankwa was very instrumental, Mr. Speaker, in the establishment of the University College of the Gold Coast, which is today University of Ghana. And indeed, J.B. Dankwa co-founded the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. And the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences has become the foremost space or the foremost platform for scholarship, critical thought, and national reflection. And it continues to serve our country. That's because J.B. Dankwa also contributed to the economic development of our country in terms of the blueprint for our national development, some of which continues to contribute and impact to the forward march of our country and the national economic development of our country. And by that, Mr. Speaker, I refer to J.B. Dankwa's efforts in the mid-1940s, where he advocated for cocoa farmers, which culminated in the establishment of the Cocoa Marketing Board in 1947, today's Cocoa Board. And so, Mr. Speaker, if I may emphasize, today's Cocoa Board, if we are to be blunt about it, is indeed the direct efforts, arising out of the direct efforts of J.B. Dankwa in the mid-1940s, when he stood up and advocated and fought for cocoa farmers at the time, which culminated in the establishment of the Cocoa Marketing Board of 1947. This is what has given us Cocoa Board today. Mr. Speaker, J.B. Dankwa did not end with intellectual interventions. He was also very instrumental when it comes to the social and cultural development of our country. Mr. Speaker, it is trite, and I need not point out that even the name of our country, Ghana, was through the intellectual and scholarly research of Dr. J.B. Dankwa, where he undertook extensive scholarly research into the then Ghana Empire and made a proposal that at the time Gold Coast, which was on the verge of gaining independence, should be named Ghana. And so, Mr. Speaker, I should say that Ghana, to some extent, owes its name to the tireless work and scholarly work of Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying that if there was one legacy which stands in the name of Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Mr. Speaker, I will say that that legacy is today's Ghana.
Honourable member, if you want to continue, the first deputy speaker will take the chair, and then you can conclude. I had a few things to say, but I have to rush for another meeting.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
You have to conclude.
That is so. That is so, Right Honourable Speaker.
2 minutes.
Right Honourable Speaker, so I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I conclude, and Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me, it's always very good to have you in the chair. It's very, very pleasant to have you in the chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so let me conclude on just 2 points. The first point, Mr. Speaker, the construction of modern-day Ghana, Mr. Speaker, J.B. Dankwa played a significant role. Mr. Speaker, as the historians will tell us, at the time Ghana was to be birthed, Mr. Speaker, the Asante colony was not part
part was not to be part of modern day Ghana. It took the ingenuity, the diplomatic skills, and the efforts of J.B. Dankwa to lobby the then King of Asante, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Prempeh II, to convince him and bring Asante Colony on board to make today's Ghana what it is. That was J.B. Dankwa's role. Mr. Speaker, finally, if there was one legacy that is attributed to Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Mr. Speaker, I would say is the characteristics or the nature of today's Ghana. Because what J.B. Dankwa stood for, Mr. Speaker, before our independence, during our independence, and after our independence, and indeed, I dare say, what he died for in Sawan prison, what he died for, are essentially what constitutes today's Ghana. And I refer to J.B. Dankwa's tireless advocacy, fight, and effort to promote rule of law, to fight against one-party state, to advocate for democratic accountability, to advocate for a unitary Ghana, a one Ghana, where we are all one people. Mr. Speaker, the respect for human rights, the promotion of individual and private enterprise in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, today, that is the Ghana we have today. And that is the Ghana we have all built a consensus around, which is a Ghana where we have pluralism, political pluralism, we have democratic accountability, we have respect for human rights, we have rule of law, we have private enterprise. That is the Ghana we have today. That is the Ghana J.B. Dankwa fought for in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. That is the Ghana J.B. Dankwa died for, and Mr. Speaker, and that is the Ghana he was misunderstood then, but that is the Ghana we have today. And Mr. Speaker, with these words, let me conclude by saying that Dr. Joseph Kwame Twiritiri Boakye Dankwa indeed came, he fought, he advocated, he worked for his country, and his legacy continues to shine. Mr. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Fifi Bakman.
Why should I be careful? Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I would want to add my voice to earlier speeches made. Mr. Speaker, indeed, it is true that J.B. Dankwa was an intellectual. It is true he was a historian. It is true he was a lawyer. And I must say, he was also a prophet. He was a prophet because he told the gathering at Saltpond that if all of them failed Ghanaians, Nkrumah was not going to fail them. And indeed, when they failed Ghanaians, Nkrumah stood up and saved Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I'd want to add also that indeed, as a historian, he was touted as the Doyen of Ghana's history. J.B. Dankwa, indeed, before parting ways with Nkrumah ideologically, came out with the name Ghana, which was adopted, which is true, because he traced Ghana from the ancient Ghana Empire. And that was what they were all thinking about until they fell apart. So, with the characteristics that Ghana had with the ancient empire, Ghana was, or this current Ghana was named Ghana because of what he proposed. But as I said, Mr. Speaker, we have come this far by the struggles of our leaders, and it should dawn on us that we should not only cherish people according to their political sides, but whoever contributes to the betterment and to the upliftment of this nation, we should celebrate that person. And on that score, that I support the celebration of J.B. Dankwa. But Mr. Speaker, the UGCC, the United Gold Coast Convention, there was this gentleman called Pa Grant, who was the financier of UGCC. He is an Nzima, somebody from Sekendi, who has to also be celebrated. So I would call upon my brothers that even as they celebrate JB Dankwa, even as they celebrate people that they cherish, they should also celebrate United Gold Coast Convention's financier, who was Dr. Pa Grant. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
He's a prophet. He said when they fail, Kuma will know your mind.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Yes, Honourable Kwajo Opon Nkrumah, the only minister for complete it.
The Speaker, that's between us. The Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this statement. And I want to join in commending the Member of Parliament for Ibuakwa South, the Honourable Kingsley Agyemang, for this commemorative statement. Indeed, himself and his predecessors have always reminded the nation and this House about the great work that Joseph Kwame Chirchue Boache Dankwa did for the Republic of Ghana and has contributed to our nation's progress. Mr. Speaker, I come from a cocoa growing village, Achime Nyinase in the Ofuase Ayubi constituency. And on a day like this, as we commemorate the memory of J.B. Dankwa, for people in the cocoa industry, it invokes a lot of interesting memories. Because, Mr. Speaker, J.B. Dankwa contributed a lot to the growth of the cocoa industry in Ghana. It will be recalled, as has been mentioned by some of my colleagues earlier, that he was the chief advocate for the setting up of the Cocoa Marketing Board, an entity known today as Cocoa Board, responsible for organizing the framework around which the cocoa industry can be expanded, cocoa farmers can be supported. Today, at a time when cocoa farmers are weeping because of the difficulties that the sector and this institution is experiencing, the work that J.B. Dankwa and people like him did in times past comes into stark focus. You will recall that around the 1940s, he was again one of the strongest voices that the LBCs, or the local buying companies, should not be made up of foreigners. It should be local companies, local individuals responsible for leading the exercise of buying cocoa from our cocoa farmers. Indeed, when the colonial government wanted to introduce a program to cut down cocoa trees because of the swollen shoots around the time, he was one of the strongest voices who was advocating that alternative methods should be employed. When it came to education, he was one of the strong voices advocating that funding from cocoa be made available for the establishment of some of our universities. And indeed, it went further to influence the provision of cocoa scholarships to the sons and daughters of cocoa farmers. Today, Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate his memory and his work and his contribution to the cocoa industry, for the many in the cocoa enclaves, there is worry that all this great work that was laid out there by people like J.B. Dankwa is now coming to naught, as for months, cocoa that has been grown and harvested through the toil and sweat of our farmers is not even being paid for by Cocoa Board and the LBCs that are out there. And so, Mr. Speaker, we should not only just celebrate and commemorate his memory, the necessary steps that should be taken to ensure that true life is given to the things that he advocated for must be put in place. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to have contributed to this work.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, let me commend Dr. Kingsley Agyemang, who definitely inherited the ritual which was dutifully performed over the years by Honorable Atachia in making commemorative statement in respect of our torchbearers the respected, the doyen of Ghana politics, Dr. J.B. Dankwa. Speaker, earlier speakers have spoken to various narratives I consider as important, and hence I intend to limit myself to just some few concerns. Speaker, it is clear J.B. Dankwa bridged the gap between the downtrodden, farmers, and our big people in society. Council for Farmers, and the evidence is all over in terms of what he achieved eventually, advocating for the welfare of the farmer. And colleagues have spoken about cocoa farmers. I think it goes beyond cocoa farmers. The start of the advocacy was mainly about the welfare of the Ghanaian farmer. The establishment of Cocoa Board, now Cocoa Board, was just part of the entire achievement and progress he chalked when it comes to advocating for the welfare of farmers. Protection of our lands against our colonial masters, the Aborigines Rights Society, and the likes. The man has distinguished himself. And oftentimes we yield to this tendency of drawing a wedge between J.B. Dankwa and Kwame Nkrumah, which in my view is totally unnecessary. Suffice it to say that they have, different views in terms of how the country should be governed. They all achieve significant achievement in their right. And hence, so it's important we stay clear of this tendency of always drawing a comparison. It's totally unnecessary. I was struck when a call for the University of Ghana to be named after J.B. Dankwa received a lot of apprehension and even condemnation. It saddened my heart that such a personality would be treated the way he was treated. But I also concede that the remembrance of our forebears should not reflect in monuments per se. Speaker, elsewhere, in other developed jurisdictions, the Americas, Britain, Australia, we distill the principles and the things they stood for. And these are taught in our schools, in our institutions, and it becomes part of our body politics, and it becomes part of the formation of our institutions. For me, that should be the thrust of the argument. But it was sad that we received these apprehensions in the call for the University of Ghana to be named after him. I think the Ghana Tourist Authority could make some amendments in terms of how we can cash in on the legacies of J.B. Dankwa. I'm surprised that up to this stage, even the cells where he gave up the ghost, the Ghana Tourist Authority hasn't cashed in on that. It's something that we can cash in on it. People will come from near and far to come and look at these. Where he was buried, it has to be developed, the Ghana Tourist Authority, and it will become a point of attraction. His tabloids is all over. Go to the University of Ghana BAM Library and you read a lot of wonderful interventions by J.B. Dankwa. But I think that we need to, the remembrance of such a personality should rather be a binding force that will unite us as a country. I guess when colleagues and Ghanaians, some people tend to draw this wedge. It's totally unnecessary. Let's celebrate these forebears in their own right and the things that we're able to achieve for our country. There's a second name after J.B. Dankwa. I think this is not enough. It's not enough. We can go beyond that. And for me, that is the trust of what we are talking about. The PDA, the development of our constitutional jurisdiction, and all his contribution must be distilled and celebrated. That
is what we should be doing as a country. And I think that if we continue to do that, we'll be leaving a good legacy for this country and generations yet to unborn. Speaker, not to sound repetitive, I want to thank you for the opportunity and to commend once again the maker of the statement for such a brilliant write-up. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Statement time is ended. Majority Leader, any indication?
Mr. Speaker, whether I want to contribute to the commemorative statement.
Statement time is ended.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I mean, for so many years I've had this lecture in this chamber. I think I'm well schooled, so I won't say much. No, but have we even did? Mr. Speaker, we will take item 7A, a number of papers that need to be laid.
Very well. Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, will the leader come clear? Is he laying all the items advertised under 7A, or there are specific ones he wishes to lay?
Mr. Speaker, it is I am laying item A, Roman numeral 1 to 5. Then the Minister of State in charge of Government Communication will lay B. Then the chairman of 2 committees will lay 2 other reports, but those are not ready. So let's just focus on item 7A and leave out B, C, and D.
Honourable members, at commencement of public business, presentation of papers, item number 7A by Majority Leader.
Report of the Auditor General on the statement of the foreign exchange receipts and payments of the Bank of Ghana BOG for the half year ended 30th June 2025.
Honourable members, report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Public Accounts Committee for consideration and reports. Yes. AII.
Medium-term National Development Policy Framework 2025 to 2029.
Honourable members, the policy framework has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Economy and Development for consideration and reports. Yes, item III.
The Coordinated Program of Economic and Social Development Policies 2025 to 2029.
Honourable members, the coordinated program has been duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Economy and Development for consideration and reports. Item numbered IV.
Ghana National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights.
Honourable members, the Ghana National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights have been duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Economy and Development for consideration and report. Item numbered V. Yes.
Speaker, may I draw your attention on the referral you just did? Ghana National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights. Interestingly, I think the Human Rights Committee should have an interface. But either you will want to do a joint, or we could refer it to the Economic Committee and add the leadership of the Human Rights Committee.
Yes, Majority Leader. Very well. The leadership of the Human Rights Committee should join the Economy and Development Committee to consider and report. Item number V.
Report of the Parliamentary Delegation on the 150 Inter-Parliamentary Union Assembly held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honourable members. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we also have order paper addendum and something that Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah has been advocating, and we have so dutifully listened and responded to him. And it is the policy document, comprehensive policy document on the 24-hour economy. Please, where's the, please bring the report. Bring it, what's the problem? Bring it, what's the problem? What is your problem? A very comprehensive document on the 24-hour economy. So the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program, based on a request that has been made by my friends in the minority. And so, Mr. Speaker, the object of the order paper addendum is to create space for this report to be laid so that it can be shared among members of the House. So, Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, if we could go to order paper addendum, item number 1A, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Chief.
Speaker, we on this side of the House, as the majority leader knows, we will not object the laying of papers. However, the leader prefixes his application. He prefixes his application with the fact that as a result of the call of the minority, and that's very revealing. So indeed, if the minority had not intervened, you'll be sleeping. And that's very interesting. So we are not objecting.
Honourable Minority Whip, the House is made up of majority and minority.
So he shouldn't be in a hurry to celebrate. We are here to peruse the content of the document. I can see the document is colorful. As to whether that colorful nature of the documents is expressed in the efficiency of the content of that document, that's another matter. It's another matter. So
Honourable members, item numbered 1A on the order paper addendum by the majority leader.
24-hour economy and accelerated export development program.
Honourable members, the 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program is duly presented, and it is referred to the Committee on Economy and Development for consideration and report. Yes, majority. Are we taking the B?
There's an appeal for leadership of Trade Committee to join the economy.
Very well. I will accede to the request. Leadership of the Trade Committee should accordingly join the Economy and Development Committee.
Yeah, the practice has been that anytime these applications are made to you, you revert to our side of the leadership for our input. Because you did not. You
well,
ignored that.
Do you have a contrary view?
No, I don't. But
very well. Yes. Do we take item 1B?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, item 1B is the report of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs on the 24-hour Economy Authority Bill. Mr. Speaker, it is not just a report on the policy or a policy document that has been laid, but the bill itself to establish the authority was presented to this House, referred to a committee. The committee has worked on it, and the committee is ready to lay the report. And Mr. Speaker, we can go to B.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, we are watching with an eagle eye.
Very well. Item numbered 1B on the order paper addendum by the Chairman of the Committee. Chairman of the Committee.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, are you the Chairman of the Committee? Yes, Majority Leader.
The Chairman, I think, has stepped out, so that is the Vice Chairman of the Committee.
Very well. Vice Chairman of the Committee, you may do so.
Thank you very much.
Report of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs on the 24-Hour Economy Authority Bill 2025.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honourable members. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I don't think we have any further business for the day. Chairman is not there. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we can call it a day. Pardon?
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, the Leader of the House a while ago made an application that we should draw the curtains. Just to remind the Leader of the House, we just laid a bill on 24-hour economy. Besides the point, Speaker, we started sitting at 2. We have businesses scheduled on the order paper. Why do you want to run and go home? Speaker, for instance, we have the report of the Committee of Independent Constitutional Bodies. Their work is done. Their report is ready. Report of the Committee on Security and Intelligence on Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill. Their report is done. Second consideration. You want to run and go home, yet you have laid a bill on 24-hour economy. What is that? We are not going home. We want to work. We want to work. We have done how many hours? Just 2 hours. Speaker, we are opposed. We are opposed to going home. Why? You have done just 2 hours and you want to run home. Speaker, Ghanaians are watching you. You have laid a 24-hour economy bill and you only work for 2 hours today. You have work scheduled and it's outstanding. You want to run home. How ironical. Speaker, we are opposed to any application for adjournment.
Honorable Minority Leader, Minority Chief Whip, I beg to differ. The 24-hour economy bill has been laid long ago. What has been presented for distribution is a report of the committee. So to say that you have just laid the 24-hour economy bill for all intent and purposes, with all due respect, cannot be correct.
You are my very good friend, and in these matters, I'll always defer to you. I'm essentially saying that we have businesses scheduled. The reports are ready. So can the majority leader tell this house, why is it that we can't take item 7, C, and D? They are all ready. The reports are ready. We have only worked for 2 hours today.
Yes, so when the reports are ready, the reports are for distribution to honorable members. That was what I said upon presentation of the report.
I have done my checks. The report, majority that sit down. Let me finish speaking. The reports are ready. So issue. Unfortunately, his chief whip has abandoned him. Otherwise, the chief whip would have checked at the table office, the printing room. They would have realized that the reports are ready. Meanwhile, he's alone. He stands alone. The chief whip has abandoned him.
The rules are clear that when sufficient copies are ready, then it is due for presentation. So I agree with you that sufficient copies are ready. So it's been presented. It is now going to be distributed to members. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I just had a meeting with the chairperson and ranking member of the Security and Intelligence Committee, and I was hoping that they will be able to lay the report, but they indicated that so many interest groups send memoranda. Yeah, they send memoranda. So I agree with them on a timetable and gave them up to Monday to have a meeting with the various interest groups that have submitted memoranda to them, and then incorporate the views of those interest groups into the report before it is laid. The reason is that we don't want those interest groups to feel that we did not listen to them, and I even recommended that the hearings where the interest groups will be invited should be televised. So the report is technically not fully ready. That's why I'm not asking for the laying of the report. If you actually want, I can lay D. I can lay D, because D actually, myself and then the first Deputy Speaker, we undertook the visits to the independent constitutional bodies, and that report is in fact, available, so we can lay that one.
Very well. Item numbered 7D, Chairman of the Committee.
Report of the Committee on Independent Constitutional Bodies on a familiarization visit to 6 independent constitutional bodies.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to the members of the House.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House adjourns to 2 p.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. in the afternoon tomorrow.
Honourable members, motion move for adjournment. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker,
okay, Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
members, before working on the motion, let me crave your indulgence to announce the presence of visitors from South Korea, members of the Korean Industrial Center. First on my list is Hong Kong Wang, Director Kotra. Yolin Tai Cho, Chief Executive, MK Polex. J. EU, Korea. Ninjai Kim, Vice Chief Executive, Samwon. Tom Yo, Chief Executive of TTS. Shang-Hoon Lee, Chief Executive of Highland Engineering. Ji-Liu Chu, Chief Executive of Kilindong. Last on my list is Yuan An, Chief Executive of SIDA. Honourable members, on your behalf, I welcome them to Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Honourable members, may you have a fruitful visit to Parliament of Ghana. Honourable members, motion has been moved and seconded for adjournment of the House. The question therefore is, as many as are in favor of the motion for adjournment say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, I'll put the question again. As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. The House is accordingly adjourned till Thursday, 5th February 2026 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.